Pedrosa, believe it or not, led the way early on. He was P1 in P1. He's just up in second place.
Dani Pedrosa on that number 26. As in this session, it's Oliveira, Miller, Vinales and Aleix Espargaro. Or at the moment, Oliveira, of course, made his return from his...
On the ground as always. So there's a few tech updates you spotted down there.
Updates on his bike. For example, you know, the wing on Binder's and also Jack Miller's, machines. Then you look at chassis, engine, look, all that looks the same. The aero, they were the first to do it, has this bulge that's obviously some sort of aero to smooth the belly pan. Dani's bike doesn't have those ducts that are more towards what Aprilia are using. Then keep an eye out for more going to get on next. Has an exhaust to KTM. That'll be the easiest way to describe it. And Rins has gone back to the two original chassis he started.
Making his own turn 13. This is where Jack Miller thinks the KTM will excel. KTM stopping on a sixpence. Jack's spoken since he's first jumped on that confidence he gets from the front end. So he feels like with a lot of time to be gained in the braking, a key word. In your Leclerc then, 27, back on a reps longer. Doesn't it, when Aussie legend Casey Stoney used to tear around Grand Prix circuits on that motor.
Some good pace in pre-season this season, although it's not necessarily translated yet for Leclerc. Catalunya up next for the World Superbike Championship, where he went very well for the brand in World Superbikes as well, and doing a very solid job.
Alex Rins from pole position. Pretty turbulent 24 hours, wasn't it, in Coach, after a stunning Saturday, and then it all went horribly wrong. Too stable, because with all of the aero, the downforce that you're getting.
But as you say, it's the points that he's left in the gravel traps, and
fortunate with their injuries, because they have not been around. They've not been able to punish the errors. 7 points behind this man in the World Championship. There you go, there it is, as it stands coming into this 64 points. He's been the top man on Sundays, Sunday afternoons. Actually, just a quick reminder while we're talking about 12 laps here in Jerez. We'll get underway at 3 p.m. local time. Now here's that new aero then that Dani Pedrosa is experimenting with. As Simon and Lewis mentioned, it's that inside that top 6, a tight top 6, a 138.237, putting Dani up there just over
the Dani Pedrosa corner, all wrong.
He does indeed, yeah. Let's not forget Dani Pedrosa. I think it is easy sometimes to forget more Grand Prix. That's a pretty illustrious and exclusive list. As Quartararo, this Spanish circuit, a lot of riders when they were making their MotoGP Guru predictions in 20, and look at this stat as well. He's never started lower than second.
So Quartararo looking to leave himself a little less to do on a Saturday and a Sunday, and also get
5 top 10s. So this is a venue where Takanaki...
Yeah, he's got great pedigree around here. I'd say this and Aragon. Energised, perhaps motivated by what he saw from his teammate Alex Rins. Ikagami looking to make some headlines of his own for LCR this weekend. Lorenzo corner to go to potentially go one better here.
Sliding that rear end was to the Jorge Lorenzo corner. Bit of a wheelie, more wheelie there. That's going to cost him time. That's been a problem, hasn't it, for the Honda? It's away from his personal best benchmark in this session. Here is our top man though, Oliveira, on the Crypto Data RNF machine. On the Iberian Peninsula, aren't we, after Portimao, Portugal kicked off our championship schedule this season. Oliveira at the moment still the only man that's been able to find
Grand Prix of his own now at his visit there earlier in the season, but Oliveira off to a good start here with Oliveira, Aleix Espargaro and Maverick Vinales all currently inside the top 6.
Yeah, the main race was like a small victory given his injury problems. So easy to make a mistake in that race on Sunday. Small mistakes. Really unhappy with the performance of the bike, really unhappy with the performance himself, but he said it wasn't a terrible weekend at all. It was just the fact that they're in this P1 session. He goes in deep as well.
Of course, circuit that he knows and loves, is on target as well to go pretty close to the top. In fact, he's a quarter of a second up.
Pedrosa powers out of the final corner here, and he goes into P1. Engaged time machine again, because Dani in P1, a 137.810. The Spaniard puts himself back into P1.
Stability was more stable. That's why all the riders last year they choose the medium unless you have a really good setup. So we have to see for the rear, for more force in the front. So for me, the allocation is well balanced.
Thank you, Pierre.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks. There was a couple of engineers down in the pit lane yesterday with the old temperature guns on the, and I think it was well over 50 degrees, pretty close to the apps this afternoon.
Yeah.
With the conditions expected, actually may well come this morning.
The temperatures at the start of the Moto2 session this morning, under an hour later. So that's how quickly the temperature was.
Like Maverick Vinales, it's as much about how you treat him off the bike as it is on the bike. He's got the full support of the factory behind him. First affected for him as well over in Kota.
Yeah, he's of course crashed out of the sprint in Argentina and spent much of the sprint Maverick Vinales, but after finishing in fourth, narrowly missed out a ride height device, which weren't necessarily down to the device itself, more the engaging of it. Finished it here last season, albeit on a completely different level. I love that golden streak of podiums he had last year.
Yeah, I remember the difficult prospect of getting through on Jack Miller coming into his home Grand Prix weekend. Now they're just having a quick check the CPR on the crypto data RNF Aprilia. He's gone out on a... Here we're looking at though Fabio Quartararo through this fast sweeping, rocketed up into P5 on the 25 bike, a 130. A fairly underwhelming start, you have to say, to just a measly 2 points collected so far this year, Lewis. He says, almost admitted yesterday, beneath him, it's time to show all this promise and potential which we saw from him.
Yeah, his words in Austin before that weekend started stuck in my head. Big problems for Raul Fernandez so far has been qualifying. He qualified RNF Aprilia rider so far. If you can get that right, you feel he's got the race, but he's leaving himself way too much to do.
Into the Jorge Lorenzo caught by Fernandez, just trying to keep that front wheel down now as he goes to down the start finish straight. Wasn't able to pick up any time there. He lost time in the last couple of sectors because at one stage we here in Jerez, and as Simon mentioned, the hard braking zone number 1 and turn 6, they are both hard braking zones into right hand corner, so this will, he's been pushed back down to further down the rankings. Quartararo, where we're looking at now, go through turn 4 again. This is the session, so 2 world champion.
Yeah, many riders currently on outlaps then. John Zarco currently on a
Honda machine under the flying saucer. He goes right now. Nakagami does take Pedrosa for P1. Right then, third. He'll clip fourth. Fifth now. Does he go into 6th gear? No, most riders just stay in 5th gear. Back in P1 there is Pramac Ducati boss Paolo Camp.
Bezzecchi passes us, the World Championship leader, into the top 5 now and into the 1, certainly in the thick of it at the moment. Currently sitting 3rd, but there are riders taking aim at...
On the Aprilia then. Power down out of the final corner. He attacks towards the start, but it's locked spot. It might well be a 136 you need to top this P1 session then here to 2nd gear for the Jorge Lorenzo corner. The 36 of the Spanish Grand Prix weekend so far. Over the line, Naki, Japanese man, is flying. Not quite a 36, but a 137.044.
That final sector, which is why he was able to pull a bit of time back, but not enough to keep Nakagami. Jerez now joins his teammate inside the top 3, but a third of us. For now, I haven't seen him come into the pits to change tyres.
And what about some big names? Pekka Bagnaia, the 15th as it stands late on here. Martin climbs up into 3rd. It's 137.4 and a medium rear tyre is pretty impressive, isn't it? As Pedrosa then now, this 4.4 kilometre Jerez circuit here in southern Spain. Is lightweight. He had to get the bike on the fat part of the top of the traction, pick up the drive grip. Another good lap that by Danny.
Spoken about him much in this session, but of course a first Grand Prix podium for him behind the early leader Alex Rins. By the time Marini got through to 2nd place, he was too far back to do anything about.
Martin may well be firing in the first 136 of the weekend here. He does deliver a 136.804 then. Puts Jorge Martin top of the pack, as do here late on. The former Moto3 and Moto2 world champion over the line. That's more like it from the 73.
On Martin coming through the final corner. If he holds that to the line, Pedrosa could end this. 2nd, crosses the line now. He goes better than that. Fastest of all.
1-0. Look at the scenes then down inside.
It's 2006.
It's just incredible. Pekka Bagnaia having a quick need the 4th, or the 3rd and 4th sectors of his life here in Jerez to knock Danny Pedrosa. Danny Pedrosa, let's not forget, he's a 31-time race winner over 150 illustrious and distinguished career when he was a full-time racing rider. But back as far from Pedrosa, Bagnaia is not going to get anywhere near that 130, is he? The checker flag is out as well. Now Binder's a low 137 as well. So Esteban Garcia, Pedrosa all the way back in sort of the early 2000s, and Danny Pedrosa back with a bang here in Jerez.
That was coming through the entire session for Danny Pedrosa. He said he was going to have to take a bit of time to adjust to this new format. It took him about 10 minutes.
In 2018, absolutely brilliant from the little samurai.